Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlethems. I am the Watcher, the one who knows all, sees all, tells all. Greetings to those who are joining me this lovely afternoon, for me anyway. Today we're going to be continuing on with part 2 of Fate Stay Night. Hopefully we can finish the prologue today. I know, 2 streams for just the prologue? Insane. But this is a rather long game. Sorry for the bit of a wait before I actually managed to start. OBS decided that it wanted to begin the robot rebellion early, and I had to fight back against it. But we're here now. We are here now. So we're just going to get right on into it, I think. Alright. And with that, let me actually just, yeah, there we go. That should be better. I think that's... Okay, now that's going to try and start from there. So, load February 1st. The Holy Grail War. It's a grand ritual that's been repeated for hundreds of years. A fight to the death between 7 participants, of which only 1 can survive. It's said that a Holy Grail exists in the land of Fuyuki, and that a number of mages have fought over it in the past. Their one and only objective was to obtain the relic called the Holy Grail. However, the Grail's origins are unclear. We're sure it isn't the chalice that held the blood of God, but its power is fearsome enough to be compared to the genuine article. That's right. They say the Holy Grail can grant any wish. Only 1 person can possess it. The Holy Grail can only grant 1 wish for 1 person. Despite that, 7 mages are needed to summon the Grail to this land. 7 collaborators to create 1 miracle. So, as you might imagine, it was only a matter of time before they started fighting over the Grail. Like so many conflicts, it started as a competition over property rights. 7 mages equally used the power of the Holy Grail to summon their respective familiars, and then do battle over the Grail itself. Only 1 mage can obtain the Grail. As a result, 7 people who started as colleagues ended up in a ferocious battle to the death. That's the gist of the ritual known as the Holy Grail War. A struggle for ownership between mages. The mages chosen by the Holy Grail are called Masters. They use the blessing of the Grail to acquire powerful familiars known as servants. Two things serve as proof that one has become a master: the summoning and command of a servant, and the mark of command spells to compel the servant's servitude. The first goes without saying. The archer I summoned yesterday, no, a few hours ago to be exact, is Ren Tosaka's servant. As for the second, A master must closely guard the command spells that control one's servant. This is probably the most critical aspect of being a master. When I summoned Archer, symbols appeared on my right hand. Namely, command spells. Stigmata bestowed by the Holy Grail upon the summoning of a servant that marks one's new status as a master. A massive amount of magical energy is compressed into these seals, whose power is fleeting rather than long-lasting. They disappear once they're used, and as their shape suggests, each mark represents a single use. In other words, one only gets 3 shots. A master who's used up all 3 command spells can no longer control a servant, and is as good as dead. Therefore, command spells must be handled with care until the very end, since they're as valuable as one's own life. It pains me to no end that I burned one right off the bat, but it wasn't a total waste, so I'll chalk it up as a win. After all, a servant could turn on its master at any time. If one command spell is what it takes to put a collar on him, then I consider that a fair trade. That's about it for the broader strokes of this business. Once 7 servants have been summoned, the Holy Grail War will begin. Tonight's sleep will be a fitful one. I don't know when the final master will appear, but they could be right around the corner. Is it morning already? I feel sluggish. My bleary gaze goes up to the window, only to see that it's already bright outside. It's already 9? This doesn't even count as being tardy. After a drowsy check of the clock, I make up my mind to skip school today. Body's heavy. It feels like that business mostly drained me. Sitting up in bed, I heave a long sigh. Not being a morning person isn't enough to explain why I feel so dull today. I think Archer mentioned something about it. A master would be out of commission after summoning a servant. That's right. I summoned Archer, not Saber. I remember it all clearly now. I'd rather not, to be honest, but it's not as if denying the facts will let me do it over. I'll take a day or so to recover my power. I'll just treat today like a break-in period. I dragged myself out of bed. A mental boxing match rages between the outside air, which is quite warm for winter, and the comfort of my bed sheets. It concludes in a 3-second knockout against the temptation of going back to sleep. I check my body in the mirror. Nothing out of place aside from the loss of half my usual magical energy. Not that it's a problem. I review the situation. I summon the servant Archer, who doesn't have an ounce of respect for his master. To make matters worse, he doesn't even know who he is. Talk about a headache. I guess that means his trump card is off the table until his memories come back. Can't expect him to use a power he doesn't even remember. Servants are strong familiars all on their own, but what makes them truly formidable is the secret weapon that they each possess. Frustratingly, Archer claims to have forgotten what his is. It is my fault that he's in this state, so we'll just have to make it work. We're both in the same boat, then. I can only pray that he'll sort his memories out, but who knows how long that might take. Good grief. I've really got my work cut out for... Whoa. I might have to reevaluate my opinion of him. The parlor's completely back to normal. I thought he'd maybe just clear away the detritus, but the room is so spotless I can't help but be impressed. He must have felt bad for wrecking the place. I doubt he would have gone to the trouble otherwise. I guess I ought to commend him for being a more decent guy than I... Still taking your sweet time, I see. Need I remind you that we're wasting daylight? I retract my statement. There isn't a remorseful bone in his body. Good morning. You seem to have made yourself right at home. I did spend the night after all. Oh, I took the occasion to tidy up the kitchen. I expected it to be inadequate, but it's rather thoughtfully furnished. Quite well kept for a girl living alone in a mansion. I have a headache. Why do I have to put up with a servant judging my interior decoration? I thought servants all cared about only fighting. Are we sure this guy isn't defective? I see you aren't in your best condition. You were so feisty last night, but the fatigue must have caught up with you. I'll pour you some tea. I hope black is fine. Acting like he owns the place. Without missing a beat, Archer produces a teacup and fills it with the expensive reddish tea that he's been brewing. There's a lot I want to say right now, but oddly enough, I can't work up the indignation to. The way he does it all is so refined. I've got to admit he might be rather cultured. Fine. I am pretty exhausted, so I guess I'll have some. I sit down on the chair. The teacup is placed soundlessly in front of me, and I take a sip. Oh, it's delicious. I expected it as much since it is my favorite Chinese tea. A spring harvest Hongcha. I'd be upset if it didn't taste good. On that note, I'd normally be upset if someone used my favorite tea leaves without asking. It makes me mad, but the tea was brewed so exquisitely that the pleasure it brings overcomes my anger.
ちょっと、何笑ってるのよ、あんた。
Hey, what's so funny?
何、感想が聞きたかったが、その顔では聞くまでもないと思っただけだ。
Well, I was going to ask how you like it, but your face tells me enough. I set the teacup down with a forceful thud.
もったいない。熱いうちに味わった方がいいぞ。私が気に障るなら消えているが。
Oh, what a waste. You should enjoy it while it's still hot. I can leave if I'm spoiling the mood.
ごちそうさま。結構よ。私は茶坊主が欲しくてマスターになったわけじゃないわ。あなたもね、頼みもしないことをする必要はないわよ。
No need. Thanks for the tea. I didn't become a master to be a tea snob, and I didn't ask you to do that either.
そうか。確かに私も茶坊主になったり、後片付けをするために契約したわけではない。君がそういうのならば、これからは気をつけよう。
I see. I agree. I didn't make a contract with you to be your tea brewer. I'll show more restraint in the future, if that's what you want.
ええ、私が求めているのは戦力としての使い魔よ。
Yeah, you're only here to be a combat familiar.
家事をこなすサーバントなんて聞いたことがないし、する必要も特にないわ。
I've never heard of a servant that does household chores, nor do I particularly need one.
ん？特にはないとはどういう意味かな？
What do you mean by particularly?
別に、好きなようにとって結構よ。
Interpret that however you want.
それより、あなた、自分の正体を思い出せた？
More importantly, do you remember who you are yet? Archer shakes his head in the negative. That doesn't bode well. If he can't remember after a single night, then his memories probably won't return easily. There are some measures I can try today, but...
わかった。あなたの記憶に関しては、おいおい対策を考えとく。
Alright. I'll think of some solutions for your memory issue.
じゃあ、出かける支度をして、はっちゃん。召喚されたばかりで勝手もわからないでしょ？街を案内してあげるから。
For now, get ready to head out, Archer. You probably don't know the lay of the land yet, do you? I'll give you a tour of the city.
出かける支度？いや、そんな必要はないだろう。出るのならばすぐに出られるが。
Get ready? There's no need for that, surely. If we're leaving, we should go right now.
あのね、そんな格好で出歩くつもり？どう見ても普通じゃないし、他のマスターが見たら一発でサーバントってわかるじゃない。
Do you plan to walk around in town in that outfit? Anyone can see that you aren't a normal person, and if another master spots you, they'll know you're a servant right away.
私、自分から私はマスターですなんて言いふらす気はないんだけど。
I don't plan on announcing our presence to the entire world.
ああ、そういうことか。
Ah, so that's your concern.
それも問題はない。確かに着替える必要はあるが、それは実体化している時だけでね。
There's no problem. While I need to change clothes to blend in, that's only while I'm materialized.
サーバントはもともと霊体だ。非戦闘時には霊体になってマスターにかける負担を減らす。
Servants are fundamentally spiritual beings. When we're out of combat, I can take an incorporeal state to reduce the burden on my master.
ああ、そっか。召喚されたって英霊は英霊だものね。霊体に肉体を与えるのはマスターの魔力なんだから、私が魔力提供をカットすれば。
Okay. That is what makes you a heroic spirit. You need your master's magical energy to form a body, so if I cut off that supply...
自然。我々も霊体に戻る。
Sorry about that. My mother was yelling about something. We naturally return to spirit form.
そうなったサーバントは守護霊のようなものだ。レイラインで繋がっているマスター以外には観測されない。
In this state, servants are more like guardian angels. We can only be observed by masters connected to a ley line.
もっとも会話程度はできるから偵察ならば支障はないが。
Of course, we're still capable of conversation or reconnaissance.
お、便利。それじゃあ本当に他のマスターを探し出すなんて難しいんだ。
Wow, that's really handy. That would make it really hard for other masters to locate you.
まあ。だが、魔術師は魔術師を知覚できるだろう。それと同じで、サーバントもサーバントを感知できる。
Yes, but just as mages can sense other mages, servants can sense other servants.
優れた魔術を知るサーバントならば、遠く離れたサーバントの位置さえ把握するだろう。
A servant who is skilled in magecraft may even be able to locate other servants from afar. Archer has it in one. Masters are supposed to be capable mages. And the more magical energy the mage has, the better they are at detecting traces of magical energy. As far as I know, however, there isn't anyone else around with that degree of power.
で、あんたはどうなの？他のサーバントの位置、わかる？
So, what about you? Can you tell where the other servants are?
マスター、私のクラスは何か忘れたのか？遠く離れた敵の位置を探るなど、騎士上がりにできるものか？
Master, have you forgotten which class I am? Do you expect a knight to be able to scry faraway enemies? He has a point. Archer's magical energy isn't on that level. It's likely that only the magically powerful caster is capable of easily locating distant foes.
わかったわ。じゃあ、とりあえず後についてきて、ハーチャー。あなたの呼び出された世界を見せてあげるから。
Fine. Then follow me, Archer. I'll show you the world you've been summoned to.
そう目新しいものではなさそうだがね。
I doubt it would be particularly new to me.
それよりマスター、君、大切なことを忘れていないか？
Moreover, Master, haven't you forgotten something important?
え？大切なことって何？
Huh? Something important?
まったく。君、まだ本調子ではないぞ。契約において最も重要な交換を私たちは未だしていない。
My goodness, you really aren't at the top of your game. We still haven't exchanged the most critical point of our contract.
契約において最も重要な交換。
The most critical point? I can increase game volume. Alright. I turned it up a little bit in OBS. I had it turned down so it wasn't overpowering my volume. Is he demanding equivalent exchange? No, that can't be it. The chance to take part in the Holy Grail War is already reward enough for a servant. Just let me know if I need to turn it up anymore. There shouldn't be anything else left to trade.
君な。朝は弱いんだな、本当に。
Wow, you really aren't a morning person. Archer sounds exasperated. His oh-so-sardonic manner of speech finally gives me an idea. Come to think of it, he's never once called me by my name.
ああ、しまった。名前。
Oh, crap. My name.
思い当たったか。まあ、今からでも遅くはないさ。それでマスター、君の名前は？これからは何と呼べばいい？
Finally caught up, are we? I suppose it isn't too late. So, Master, what is your name? What shall I call you? Archer sounds sulky. Oh man, he really is a decent person. I'm sure of it now. After all, there's no tangible benefit to exchanging names. Servants are forcefully bound to their masters by the command spells. While names are key to contracting with regular familiar, there's no need for a master and a servant to be so intimate. But it's important to Archer. He's clearly trying to establish trust between comrades in arms, regardless of the command spells.
私、遠坂凛よ。あなたの好きなように呼んでいいわ。
I'm Tosaka Rin. You can call me whatever you want. I answer in a clipped tone, unwilling to let slip any admiration. He'll probably just call me something impersonal like Master or Hey You, which works out just fine for me. Except Archer chews on Rin Tosaka for a moment.
それでは、リンと。ああ。この響きは、実に君に似合っている。
Then Rin. Yes, the sound of that suits you very well. He says something really forward.
リン、どうした？何やら顔色がおかしいが。
What's wrong, Rin? You look unwell.
うるさい。いいからさっさと行くわよ、あーちゃん。とにかくのんびりしてる暇なんてないんだから。
Shut up. We're leaving, Archer. This is no time to be sitting around. I turn on my heel and storm away, huffing. This is so infuriating. I'm not even sure why. Damn that Archer. Did he say that just to mess with me?
ありえる。こいつなら絶対そうだ。
I bet he did. Definitely sounds like something he'd do. Yeah, I'm sure that's it. Must be all part of his plan to get me all flustered. I'd better be careful. Gotta work with this wise guy from here on out. I take Archer outside. Fuyuki City, my hometown, is broadly divided into two halves. There's Miyama, which is left over from the village the city grew out of, and Shinto, the developing modern region across the river. My house is in Miyama, the old part. Miyama itself is split into two areas: the European-style neighborhoods, originally inhabited by immigrants from abroad, and the old Japanese-style houses set against a mountainous backdrop. Both areas are situated on hilltops along the outskirts of town. The street dividing the two residential areas is fairly normal by comparison. How normal, you ask? This normal. This is the crossroads of Miyama. On one side lies the road going up the hill to the European neighborhoods where I live. Opposite it is the road to the Japanese houses, and between them is the path leading to Shinto. Where my school and the shopping areas are, as well as Ryodo Temple in the mountains. We come to the bridge connecting Shinto and Miyama. Years ago, a big train station went up in Shinto, bringing it with it frenzied urbanization. They may belong to the same municipality, but Miyama and Shinto couldn't be more different. The name Fuyuki, written with the kanji for winter tree, is supposedly inspired by the long winters here. Which, by the way, are pretty long. Despite that, the temperatures are warm. February here is only about as cold as the very start of winter elsewhere. I bet if you randomly started digging, you'd turn up a hot spring or two. Though, of course, our temperate weather disqualifies this town as a hot spring resort location. We've got an odd climate where the mild winters suddenly turn to springtime bloom come April. This is what Shinto looks like. A number of tall buildings have been erected as if in a hurry, giving the hastily developed city a distinctly artificial feel. It all happened in the last decade or so, too. 10 years ago, there was a large fire that wiped out a residential area. Someone built a bunch of glass and metal buildings on the depopulated land. And here is the center of it all.
ここがシントの公園よ。これで主だったところを歩いて回ったわけだけど、感想は?
This is Shinto's park. What are your thoughts now that we've been to all the key spots? I ask Archer, who's next to me. Of course, he's invisible.
広い公園だ。だというのに人気がないのは何か理由でもあるのか?
It's a big park. Is there a reason why nobody's here?
やっぱりそう見える? まあ、ここはちょっとした曰くがあるから。
It certainly feels that way, doesn't it? There's a story behind it, actually. I look out over the park. You'd think that a wide open space like this would have children playing in it, even on a weekday. But instead, there are only a handful of people. This place feels dull and lifeless.
10年前の話よ。この辺り一帯で大きな火事があったんだって。火は一日燃え続けて、雨が降り出した頃に消えたんだとか。
It was 10 years ago. Apparently there was a big fire that burned for an entire day and only went out once it rained.
その後町は復興したけど、ここだけはそのままなの。
Although that town was rebuilt, this place stayed basically the same.
焼け野原になって何もなくなったから公園にしたらしいわ。
The burnt meadow eventually got turned into a park. Archer says nothing, but I can tell he sensed something odd, even if I can't see him.
気づいたみたいね。そうよ。ここが前回の聖杯戦争決着の地。私も事情は知らないけど、前回の聖杯戦争はここで終結してそれきり。
Noticed, have you? That's right. This is where the last battle of the previous Holy Grail War was fought. It all ended here.
なるほど。それでこんなにもここは怨念に満ちているというわけか。
I see. So that's why there's so many grudges here.
わかるの？そういうの。
Huh? You can tell?
サーバントというのは霊体だ。そのあり方は怨念、猛襲に近い。故に同じ無念には敏感なのさ。街中でも濃い場所はあるが、ここは別格だ。我らから見れば固有結界のそれに近い。
Servants are spirits first. Our very existence is similar to grudges or obsessions. That makes us sensitive to lingering emotions such as these. There were other areas around town that felt dense with such a feeling, but this is on a different level. From our point of view, it's almost like a reality marble. Tosaka mutters under her breath. Archer's inflectionless voice mentions an unusual bit of magical jargon. In 8 bounded fields. Mages call them reality marbles. Reality marbles are considered one of the apexes of magecraft. They're said to be infinitely close to true magic. For the last few centuries, bounded fields have served as mages' defensive barriers. To put it in simple terms, they're like a home security system, with real teeth. Bounded fields are conventionally erected on a piece of land or a building to guard against outside threats. They are merely an alteration of an area that already exists. Reality marbles, however, those are something else entirely. You can think of them as a space that consumes reality itself. When a mage materializes their imaginary world, a representation of their mind, and overwrites the real world within it, we call the resulting field a reality marble. It's a large area magecraft that rebuilds the world according to a mage's wishes.
リン、どうした？考え事か？
Rin, is something on your mind?
ちょっと意外だったから。
No, I was just a little surprised.
こういう結界だなんて、アーチャーのくせに珍しい言葉を知ってるなって。
I didn't expect to hear the words reality marble from an archer.
なんだ、知っていてはおかしいか？
Is it so strange that I know it?
だってそうじゃない。こういう結界っていうのは魔術師にとっては禁忌中の禁忌、奥義の中の奥義だもの。アーチャーであるあなたが知ってるなんて筋違いよ。
Well, yeah. To mages, reality marbles are a taboo among taboos. Some of the most esoteric arts out there. It doesn't make sense that an archer would know what they are. I shoot a quizzical gaze in his general direction. In reply, I feel an incorporeal sigh.
リン、英雄とは剣術、魔術に長けたものを指す。
Rin. The word hero implies someone familiar with both martial and magical arts.
アーチャーだからといって弓しか使えないと思うのは勝手だが、私以外のサーバントにそんな楽観は持たないでくれ。
You're free to assume that your archer only knows how to use a bow, but I hope you don't hold the same illusions about the other servants. Oof. That does make sense when he puts it like that.
わかったわよ。今のは軽率な発言だったわ。次からは気をつけるからこれでいいでしょ。
Okay, I get it. I didn't think that through, and I'll be more careful next time. That good enough for you?
リン、ズバリ言おう。君は優秀だが、それゆえに他人を過小評価する欠点がある。成人するまでには強制したまえ。
Vane, let me be blunt. You are certainly talented, but that makes you tend to underestimate other people. You should break that habit before you become an adult.
何気に失礼なこと言うわね、あんた。
You really don't know when to stop, you know that? Break my habit? He's talking about me like an unruly racehorse.
いや、失礼。別にリンがジャジャ馬だと言ったわけではない。単にイメージ通りの表現を使っただけというか。
Oh, forgive me. I didn't mean to suggest you're a horse, but it did feel like an appropriate choice of words.
なおさら悪いわ。
Hey, that's just as bad! Oh. My right hand suddenly flares with pain.
リン、
Rin,
ちょっと黙って、あーちゃん。
quiet down for a sec, Archer. The command spells on my right hand hurt. They're throbbing, almost like a dull alarm warning their owner.
誰かに見られてる。
Someone's watching us. I scan my surroundings. I mentally weave a detection web and cast it out over the park.
私じゃ見つけられない。
I can't find them.
あーちゃん、あなたは？
Any luck, Archer?
難しいな。私には視線すら感じられん。
Doesn't look like it. I can't even sense them spying on us.
ってことは、見てるのはマスターね。
Which means it's a master. I don't know who it is, but if Archer can't tell, then it must be a master. We don't have all 7 yet, but the fighting could still start at any time. Maybe whoever's watching me is up for an early skirmish.
霊樹は霊樹に反応する。マスターであるのなら、誰がマスターであるかは出会えば感じられるということか。だが、それならリンにも相手が識別できるのではないか。
Command spells react to other command spells. If we're dealing with a master, then you should be able to identify them if we come across them. Would they be able to do the same to you?
ええ。けど、高位の術者なら自分の魔力ぐらい隠し通せる。いくら霊樹同士が反応するって言っても、その霊樹だって魔力で発動するものよ。大元であるマスター自身が魔術回路を閉じていれば見つけることは難しいわ。
Yes, but advanced spellcasters can hide their energy signatures. Our command spells may react to each other, but it still takes magical energy to activate them. As long as the master keeps their magic circuits shut, it'll be hard to find them.
厄介だな。では、こちらはいいように位置を知らせているということか。
That's troubling. Does that mean we're broadcasting our position?
でしょうね。まあ、私だって家探しすれば魔力殺しぐらいは見つかるだろうけど。
Pretty much. If I looked around at home, I'm sure I could dig up a way to mask my power, but
必要ないと
you don't need to.
そうだって隠さなければ向こうからやってきてくれるでしょ。こっちから出向く手間が省けるわ。
Yep. They'll just come to us first, right? Saves us the trouble of looking. Ugh. Archer doesn't respond. Maybe he's irritated with me.
何よ、自信過剰はいけないって言いたいの？
What? Are you going to tell me not to get cocky? I ask, a little defensive, thinking of our earlier exchanges. Archer mentally brushes the question aside.
君はそのままが一番強い
You're at your best when you're like this.
小物には付きまとわせてやるがよかろう
Yes, let the small fry come to us. I can feel the smirk in his tone. I'm not saying I like what he said, but it is enough of an olive branch, I suppose. We start walking around town again. I spend the day taking him to all the important places, and even drop by some less significant spots that might be useful to know. After dinner, I make for our final stop. It's now after 7 in the evening. This is a good chance to show him the best vantage point in the city. The wind howls. We are atop the tallest building in Shinto. The commanding view of the city makes for a fitting end to our tour.
どう？ここなら見通しがいいでしょ、あーちゃん。
So, pretty great view, isn't it, Archer?
将来君と付き合う男に同情するなよくもまあここまで好き勝手連れ回してくれたものだ
I feel sorry for any future boyfriends. You really know how to run a guy ragged.
何か言った？あーちゃん。
Huh? What did you just say, Archer?
素直な感想を少しと確かにいい場所だ初めからここに来れば歩き回る必要もなかったのだが
Just an honest thought. It is a good position, though. If you'd taken me here first, it would have spared you the effort of all that walking.
何言ってるのよ。確かに見晴らしはいいけど、ここからわかるのは街の前景だけじゃない。実際にその場に行かないと街の作りはわからないわ。
Now, what are you talking about? It's nice, sure, but you need to visit places to really get the lay of the land. This only gives you a bird's eye view of the city.
そうでもないがアーチャーのクラスは伊達ではないぞ旧兵は目が良くなければ務まらん
Not necessarily. You think too little of the archer class. One can't be a good bowman without good eyes.
そうなの？それじゃあここから家が見える？あーちゃん。
Really? Can you see my house from here, then?
いやさすがに隣町までは見えないせいぜい橋あたりまでだなそこまでならタイルの数ぐらいは見て取れる
Not quite that far. Just to the bridge or so. I can count the number of tiles there, at least.
嘘。タイルって橋のタイル？
No way! The tiles on the bridge? I didn't expect his vision to be as good as the telescopes I often see on rooftops. Sharp Eye doesn't even begin to cut it.
びっくり。アーチャーって本当にアーチャーなんだ。
I'm surprised. You really are an archer.
リンまさかとは思うが君私をバカにしているんじゃないだろうな
Rin, are you mocking me?
そんなわけないでしょ。たださ、あなたってアーチャーって言う割には弓使いっぽくないから、 つい勘違いしてただけ。
Of course not. I just didn't take you for the bow and arrow type. My mistake.
それは問題発言だ。帰ってから追求しよう。
That's a misconception we'll have to address once we go home. With that, Archer goes quiet for a while. He must like the landscape from up here. He's probably considering the layout of the city. I shouldn't interrupt him while he's thinking. I step away from Archer and approach the edge of the rooftop. All I can see from here are the lights below. Headlights flow through the streets, and I can make out people on the way home from work. I can't tell what kinds of cars they are or who exactly is walking, but I can see them, just not clearly. It's not like how I could tell someone was watching me earlier, even if I couldn't pinpoint them.
少なくとも神道を根城にしている奴が一人いる。
At the very least, I know someone's made their base in Shinto. I squint down toward the ground. There are 7 masters in total. I don't know who they are, nor which servants are with them. But at this point, every master is probably gathering intelligence on their rivals. Suddenly, I feel someone's eyes on me. There's no reaction from my command spells. I simply sense that someone else is looking at me.
下
Down there? I peer down. People are walking on the street. But one in particular is gazing up at me as if staring at the moon. I'm not sure exactly who that is. And I can't say for certain, yet I know exactly who. I can't believe that guy. What's he doing out this late?
リン、敵を見つけたのか？
Have you found an enemy, Rin? Archer calls out to me. Maybe he can make out my rising hostility.
別にただの知り合い。私たちには関係のない一般人よ。
Not really, it's just someone I know. Normal person who has nothing to do with us. Unable to clamp it down, I irritably snap back at him and step away from the roof's edge. He couldn't have seen me from the ground. I'm sure it was just a coincidence. I haven't given myself away. And yet, my mage side is screaming at me for allowing an eyewitness to catch sight of me. By the time I get back to Miyama, it's 9 p.m. Unlike Shinto, Miyama's mostly residential. After 9, there isn't really anyone outside, and the streets are silent as if it's much later at night.
こんなところね。街の作りは大体わかった？
That's it for the tour. Did you get a good look at the city?
ああ、町のことならわかる。あとはおいおい掴んでいくさ。
Yeah, I understand the layout. I'll pick up more details along the way.
なら今日はここまでね。私もまだ本調子じゃないし、家に戻って休みましょう。
And we're done for today. I'm still not feeling great, so I'm going home to rest. I start up the hill at a relaxed pace when I notice someone up ahead.
あれ、さくら？
Is that Sakura? Uh-oh. Now would not be a good time to run into her.
リン、何を隠れている？
Rin, why are you hiding?
黙ってて。うん。あそこにいるの知り合いなのよ。今日は学校休んだし、あんまり顔を合わせたくないの。
Be quiet. There's someone I know up ahead, and I skipped school today, so I don't want her to see me. As I answer, I keep an eye on her. In the middle of the street, there's the first-year student I know. And a foreigner that I don't. They're talking. No, it looks more like he's trying to pick her up while she'd rather be anywhere else.
リン、知り合いとは外国人の方か？
Rin, are you acquainted with that foreigner?
いいえ、知らない。この辺りは洋館が多いから、どっかよそから遊びに来てるんじゃない？
No, I don't know who that is. There are a lot of European houses here, so maybe he's a tourist. Even as I finish the sentence, I'm mentally telling myself off for being so soft on that girl.
あ、じゃあ、あいつ人間？
Archer, is he human?
さあ、実態はあるから人間なのだろう。少なくともサーバントではない。
Who knows? I can tell he has a human body, so he's no servant at least.
そうよね。マスターでもないし、ただの血は喧嘩か。
Yeah. He isn't a master either, so it's probably just some lover's tiff. Though, even I know that she isn't the sort to get caught up in something like that.
二人とも言ったな。女は坂を登っていく。
They're gone. The girl's going up the hill.
男は
The man. The blonde-haired man descends via the street we came by.
それじゃああなたはここを使って。私はもう眠るけど、何か質問はある？
You can use this room. Any questions before I go to bed?
とりわけ重要な疑問はない。すぐに戦闘を仕掛けない君の判断は正しいよ。今夜は魔力の回復を行うべきだろう。
None in particular. It was wise of you to avoid a premature battle. You should let your strength recover tonight.
それじゃあ明日、今朝の紅茶をよろしくね。
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Make me that tea again. Once I'm back in my room, the fatigue washes over me.
そうだ。眠る前にきれいに連絡しないと。
Oh yeah, I need to call Kirei first. That annoying priest left me a message. By now, he's probably sent for the backup mage. It isn't my problem, but he is my legal guardian, so I owe him a phone call at least.
電話っと。
Phone. I punch his number into the telephone. Before long, the fake priest picks up.
きれい？私だけど、昨日サーバントと契約したから、正式にマスター登録お願い。
Kirei, it's me. I contracted with a servant yesterday, so you can register me as a master now. There's a brief pause. Kirei's silence is deafening. I can feel its weight even through the earpiece.
いいだろう。ではどうする？一度こちらに顔を出さないか。君のご両親から預かっているものもある。君がマスターになった場合にのみ、成人前に伝えてほしいと頼まれているのだが。
Understood. What will you do next? You should stop by. I have something for you from your parents. They asked me to pass it on to you only if you became a master before adulthood.
ああ、それって父さんの遺言のこと？それならもう解読して手に入れたからいいわ。それじゃ気が向いたらお邪魔するからよろしく。
Oh, are you talking about Father's will? I already decrypted that. I'll drop by the church if I feel like it. Bye.
待てリン。マスターになったのなら。
Wait, Rin. Now that you're a master... I hang up before he finishes. If I have to listen to Kirei's nagging while I'm this tired, I have a feeling my magical energy will drain away instead of recover.
さて、これで準備は終わりっと。
Alright. I should be ready. All that's left is to sleep. Once I open my eyes, it'll be a brand new day. 10 years ago, my father fought as a mage in the Holy Grail War. And lost. Now it's my turn to risk it all for the same prize. February 2nd. And after breakfast, I lay out my plans for the day.
何？学校に行くだと？
You're going to school?
ええ、何か問題あるかしら、ハッチャー。
Yes. Do you have a problem with that, Archer?
問題はないが、しかし、それは。
It's not a problem, but... Archer looks reluctant, but he doesn't protest. After spending a whole day with me, he probably understands now that Rin Tosaka doesn't go back on her word when she's made up her mind. I can sense his disagreement, even if he doesn't voice it, but I've also learned that Archer has a sincere side beneath all the sarcasm. He won't whine about a decision he's accepted. Yep, he's loyal and awkward like that. That's what my intuition says, at least, after watching him yesterday.
リム、マスターになったからには常に敵マスターを警戒しなくてはならない。学校という場は不意の襲撃に備えにくい場所だろ。
Rin, now that you're a master, you need to always be wary of enemy masters. If you're ambushed at school, it'll be difficult for me to protect you.
そんなことはないけどね。いいハッチャー。私はマスターになったからって今までの生活を変える気はないわ。それにマスター同士の戦いは人目を避けるものでしょ。それなら人目につく学校にいれば不意打ちされることはまずないと思うけど。
Not necessarily. Listen here, Archer. I don't intend to alter my lifestyle just because of this. Besides, masters fight out of public view, don't they? I don't think anyone would try to sneak up on me in front of everyone at school.
そうか。リンがそう決めたのなら、私は従うだけだ。
If that's your choice, then I will follow along.
だが、霊体化して君の護衛をするぐらいはいいのだろうな。まさか、学校に行っている間はここに残れ、などとは言うまい。
But at least let me stand guard in spirit form. Surely you don't intend to go there without me.
当たり前じゃない。学校に限らず外に出るときはそばにいてもらうからね。マスターを守るのもサーバントの役割なんだから。頼りにしてるわ。
Of course not. You'll stay with me whenever I'm outside, not just at school. That's a servant's job, so I'm counting on you.
それを聞いて安心した。信頼に応えるのは騎士の務め。せいぜい期待にそうとしよう。
I'm glad to hear it. A knight has a duty to repay his lord's trust. You won't be disappointed.
だがリン、もしもの話だが、その安全な場所に敵がいたとしたらどうする？
Still, hypothetically speaking, what would you do if the enemy was in a place you thought safe?
何？学校にマスターがいるかもしれないって仮定？
Are we supposing that there's a master at the school?
そうだ。確かに学び屋には生徒と教師以外は入りにくいが、すでに内部の者がマスターだとしたら厄介ではないのか？
Yes. While it's hard for anyone who isn't a student or teacher to enter, it could spell trouble if a master is already infiltrated.
それはないんじゃないかな。この町には魔術師の家系は遠坂とあと一つしかないの。そのあと一つっていう家系は落ちぶれてるし、マスターにもなってないし。
I don't think that's likely. The Tosaka are the only functioning mage family left in this town. The other one's gone belly up, so they won't produce any masters.
マスターになっていないとどうしてわかる？
How do you know?
あのね、うち以外に魔術師の家系がいるんなら、真っ先に確かめるのは当然でしょ？
Hey, if there's any other family mages in Fuyuki besides the Tosaka, you can bet I've looked into them already.
そいつマスターにはなってなかったし、あっちの家系の後継者にはマスターになるだけの魔力がないから無視して構わないわ。
He isn't the master. As the heir to that family, he can't even wield the strength to become one. We can safely ignore them.
そうか。つまりリンの通う学校にはもう一人魔術師がいるのだな。だがマスターになれるほどの魔力を持ち合わせていないと。
I see. So there is another mage at your school, but they lack the magical energy to be a master.
そういうこと。だから他のマスターは外からやってくる連中が大半のはず。そんな連中が学校にまでやってくることはないでしょう。
That's right. Most of the other masters will be coming from the outside. They wouldn't be at my school.
まあ今の段階ではな。
For now, perhaps.
だがリン、何事にも例外は存在する。もし学校に君が知らない魔術師がいたとしたらどうする？
But there are exceptions to every rule, Ren. What will you do if you encounter an unknown mage at school?
だからいないってば。魔術師っていうのは他の同業に敏感なの。1年も同じ学校にいたらね、どんなに隠してても魔術師の存在は感じ取れる。
I'm telling you, it won't happen. Mages are sensitive to each other. I've spent a whole year at that campus, so I'd be able to sense any mage, no matter how much they try, no matter how hard they try to hide.
断言するけど、うちの学校に魔術師は2人しかいないわ。そのうちの1人が私で、もう1人はマスターになるだけの力がない魔術師見習いなの。
I'm certain that there are only 2 mages at that school. Me, and that Proby without enough power to even be a master.
わかった？アーチャーの用心はただの杞憂よ。そんなこと絶対にありえないんだから。
Get it now? You're just being paranoid. The scenario you're imagining won't happen.
だからもしもの話だ。物事には常に裏目が存在する。
That's why I said hypothetical. But the unexpected has a way of happening.
本来ありえざることが起こるのもまた運命だ。
Sometimes, destiny decides to make the impossible come about.
もしそういった事態になった場合、私に八つ当たりをするのだけは思いとどまってほしいと言っているのだ。
If we find ourselves in such a situation, I hope you'll remember not to take it out on me. Archer chuckles dryly. His smug attitude already makes me want to do exactly that, but I'll be late for school if I let him keep pushing my buttons.
そんなことあるわけないじゃない。もしもの話っていうのは起きないからもしもの話なのよ。もしそんなことになったら、その時は私の見通しが甘かったってだけなんだから。
Look, it won't happen. It's a what if because it would never happen in the first place. And if it does, it would just mean that I was too naive.
よし、確かに聞いたぞ。それでは行こうか、リン。
I remember you said that. Let's get going then.
君の学び屋まで30分。そろそろ出なければ間に合わない時間帯だ。
It takes 30 minutes to get to your school, so you'd better leave soon if you want to be on time.
驚いた。もしもの話って本当にあるのね。
I am legitimately shocked. It really did happen.
ああ、私も驚いている。いや、何事もケチをつけておくものだな。思わぬところで役に立った。
I'm surprised as well. It really does pay to be a pessimist. This is our exchange the moment we pass through the front gate. It's almost time for homeroom, so there are students on their way to class. All around us. Archer and I stand still like a pillar amid the swirling human sea.
空気がよどんでるどころの話じゃない。これ、もう結界が張られてない。
The air isn't just stagnant. Someone said of a bounded field, don't you think?
完全にではないが、すでに準備は始まっているようだな。
It isn't finished, but yes, prep work is already underway.
ここまで派手にやっているということは、よほどの大物か。
I must think they're a big shot to go about it this openly.
とんでもない素人ね。異常を感じさせる結界なんて三流だもの。やるんなら仕掛ける時まで隠し通しておくのが一流よ。
More an unbelievable amateur. Only a third-rate mage would make such a conspicuous field. Someone with actual skills would conceal it until it was time to strike.
で、君はどちらだと思う、リン。
And how would you rate this mage?
さあ、一流だろうが三流だろうが知ったことじゃないわ。
Who knows? I couldn't care less.
私のテリトリーでこんなゲスなもの仕掛けたやつなんて問答無用でぶっ倒すだけよ。
More importantly, trying such shoddy work in my territory is just gonna earn them a beating. I let out an indignant huff as I crossed through the grounds. As a mage, there's no sugarcoating it. I won't be satisfied until whoever made this bounded field gets what's coming to them. I'm on my way back from the music room after second period. I spot a first year floundering in the hallway. She looks like she could use a hand with the large stack of documents she's carrying.
手伝うわ、さくら。
Let me help you with that, Sakura. Huh?
遠坂先輩。
Ah, Tosaka senpai.
何、プリント？世界史って言ったらうちの担任じゃない。クズキのやつ。女生徒に使いをさせるなんて何考えてんだか。ほら、半分貸して。
Printouts. Our class is supposed to take care of world history. What is that Kuzuki thinking making you carry all these? Here, I'll take half.
はい。ありがとうございます、先輩。
Thank you.
いいっていいって。それじゃこれ、さくらのクラスまで？
It's fine. Are we taking these to your classroom?
くずき先生のところです。誤字があったから回収するって言ってました。
No, to Mr. Kuzuki. He said he needs to take them back because there's a typo.
納得。くずきは融通きかないからね。一つ誤字があったぐらいで試験を中止させるやつだった。
I can't believe that. Kuzuki's got such a huge stick up his butt. He wants to spend an entire exam over a single typo.
試験って学校の試験はですか？
You mean in an exam? Here at this school?
そう。あれは去年の中間試験だったかな。みんながガーッとマークシートを塗りつぶしてる時にやってきてね。誤字があるので正しい問題ではなかった。よって試験は中止。後日改めて行うってあの調子で淡々と言ったのよ。私たちも驚いたけど先生方も驚いてね。今でもあれは語り草よ。
Yeah, it was during midterms last year. It was near the end when everyone's answer sheets were already filled. He just came out and said there's a typo, the questions are incorrect, the exam is suspended, and we'll redo it tomorrow. The teachers were as surprised as we were, and people still talk about it.
なんかくずき先生らしいですね。それ先生、ものを教える立場に間違いは許されないって人ですから。
That does sound like Mr. Kuzuki. He's the type of person who believes teachers shouldn't make any mistakes.
くずきのは度が過ぎてるけどね。さくらもそのうち思い知るわよ。くずきの堅物ぶりったら岩か山かって感じなんだから。
Yeah, but he goes overboard. You better learn while you can that once Kuzuki's got his mind set on something, he's as hard to move as a mountain.
遠坂先輩、くずき先生のことが好きなんですね。先輩がそんな風に言うなんて珍しいです。
You must like him. It's unusual to hear you talk about someone like that.
そう？まあ、確かにくずきはもうちょっと柔軟性があればなって思うけど。
Is it? I do wish he'd just relax. Though, he's alright the way he is, ultimately. The faculty at our school is made up of both really nice teachers and some really scary ones. It's a delicate balance that Mr. Kuzuki is an important part of. He's the stick to the carrot.
まあ、2年になればもっとくずきと顔を合わせるようになるわ。あいつは倫理も受け持ってるし。
You'll see more of him next year since he teaches ethics.
そんなことよりさくら、ちょっと聞きたいことがあるんだけど、いい？
Oh, right, Sakura. There's something I wanted to ask you.
何ですか、先輩？
What is it?
昨日の話なんだけど、さくら、見かけない外国人と話してなかった？
It's about yesterday. Were you talking to a foreigner?
見てたんですか、先輩？
You saw that?
たまたま。それであれ何だったの？知り合い？
I just happened to. What's going on? Is he someone you know?
いいえ、それがその、よくわからない人だったんです。あの人、道に迷ってたみたいでした。いろいろ聞いてくるんだけど、何を言ってるのか聞き取れなくて、その。
No, I, don't really know who he was. It sounded like he was lost. He asked a lot of questions, but I couldn't really understand what he was saying. Ah, and that's when she slipped away.
そっか。ごめんなさい。少しだけ気になったから。
I'm sorry, I was just curious.
いえ、構いません。ここまででいいです先輩。あとは届けるだけですから。
No, I don't mind. Oh, it's just in here. I can get the rest now.
そう？それじゃあまたね。
Okay, see you later then. I returned the printouts to Sakura, but before I head back to my classroom, I find myself stopping.
さくら、最近はどう？
How are you lately, Sakura?
はい、大丈夫。元気です、私。
I'm okay. I'm doing well.
そう。シンジがまた何かやったら言いなさい。あいつはどってものを知らないから。黙っていると悪化する一方よ。
I see. Let me know if Shinji's up to something. He doesn't know when to quit, so it'll just get worse if you keep quiet.
心配いりませんよ、先輩。兄さん、この頃は優しいんですから。
You don't have to worry. He's been nice lately. There isn't much I can say to a smile like that. We say our farewells again, and I leave my underclassmen acquaintance. The school day is over. The classroom steadily empty, and the campus darkens by the hour. The crimson sun will set soon. Once night falls, there won't be anyone left around.
始めるわよ、あーちゃん。まずは結界の下調べ。どんな結界かを調べてから消すか残すか決めましょう。
Let's begin, Archer. First, we'll investigate the bounded field. Once we determine what type it is, we'll decide whether to erase it or leave it. I speak to my invisible partner. I feel him nod in acknowledgement. Bounded fields are meant to protect their casters. You can consider them a terrain-based magecraft formed by weaving magical energy into a net and applying it to the earth to affect the inside of the field. There are countless types of effects they can have, ranging from wards that isolate an area from the outside world to avoid detection, to fields that limit the type of magecraft that can be activated within. The most offensive types suppress biological functions inside the area of effect. And that's what's been applied to the school grounds. While it isn't finished, everyone in the school will collapse once it's activated. Something like that wouldn't work on me, though. Bounded fields are, after all, targeted at the area I'm in, not me specifically. Such indirect magical interference won't affect a mage with magical energy flowing through her body. Similarly, the electrical charges that flow in the atmosphere won't disturb the electrical currents within my body. That means the bounded field has some other purpose. Whoever it is that put this thing here isn't trying to defeat a master with it. I don't want to believe it, but they're targeting all the people within the school. There's only one possible reason for that. And it's a thought I can't stomach. After checking all around the campus, I finish my search on the roof. It's thoroughly dark outside now. The school gates shut at 6 p.m. and it's now 8 p.m. Archer and I are the only ones left, and Archer's in his spirit form.
これで7つ目か。とりあえずここが起点みたいね。
That makes the 7th one. Looks like this is the origin point. There are 8 symbols broadly drawn on the rooftop. They're purplish red marks that only a mage can see. I've never seen or heard of sigils like these.
参ったな。これ、私の手には負えない。
Well, they got me there. I don't know what to do about this. Whoever set up this bounded field did it recklessly. But, while imprudent, the magical working itself is an order of magnitude beyond my own skills. I could temporarily erase the energy of the curse, but I have no way to dispel the bounded field itself. All the spellcaster needs to do is supply it with more energy to reactivate the curse's effects. Archer doesn't comment. He's probably remained silent since encountering the rooftop sigils because he too has realized their nature. This bounded field does more than drain its victim's stamina. It will literally melt everyone inside once it's turned on. There are bounded fields which rob victims of their life force and spiritual energy. But the spell that's been applied to the school grounds is on a whole different level. This is no less than a soul eater, a blood fort which melts the human bodies inside it and forcibly collects the souls that ooze out. Since antiquity, souls have always been difficult to handle. They're theorized to exist and are considered to be necessary components of magecraft, but only one mage has ever proven their existence. Our definition of souls stops at that which examines within, and that which is transferred between vessels. To not only extract souls, but then capture them in one place? It defies comprehension. What's a mage supposed to do with a bunch of energy we can't even convert? So if I had to think of a purpose for it...
アーチャー、あなたたちってそういうもの？
Archer, is that what you and your kind are? It comes out colder than I had intended.
ご推察の通りだ。我々は基本的に霊体だと言っただろう。故に食事は第二ないし第三要素となる。
You surmise correctly. I did say that we are fundamentally spiritual beings. That means we feed on the second and third factors, the soul and the mind.
君たちが肉を栄養とするように、サーバントは精神と魂を栄養とする。
Just as you sustain yourselves with the flesh of creatures, we servants derive nutrition from the mind and soul.
栄養を取ったところで基本的な能力は変わらないが、取り入れれば取り入れるほどタフになる。つまり魔力の貯蔵量が上がっていくというわけだ。
While nutrition doesn't change our base abilities, acquiring more of it does make us more durable. It increases our reserve of magical energy, in other words. He's right. The way to make your own servant stronger is to indiscriminately attack human beings.
マスターから提供される魔力だけじゃ足りないってこと？
So, your own master's magical energy isn't enough.
足りなくはないが、大いに越したことはない。実力が劣る場合、弱点を
Extend my left hand. Magic crest engraved on my arm is like a grimoire passed down through the Tosaka line. A mental switch is flicked. I pass magical energy through the Abzug. Vernion. Mittelstand. I then send a pulse of magical energy via my left hand. That should wash away the sigil for now. Oh, okay, it's being stinky again. I think we're back. For now, anyway. That should wash away the sigil for now.
なんだよ、消しちまうのか？もったいね
What? You're gonna erase it? What a waste. Suddenly, a third voice chimes in while I'm casting the spell. I whirl around. A man is perched on top of the water tower, some 10 meters above, looking down at me. He's clad in a deep blue that blends into the night. His mouth is drawn into a grin, and he has a bestial air about him. The beast's gaze is sharp and clever. In this bizarre situation, the man in blue watches me as if he's greeting a friend he hasn't seen in a decade.
これあなたの仕業？
Did you do this?
いや、小細工を浪するのは魔術師の役割だ。俺たちはただ命じられたまま戦うのみ。だろ？そこの兄さんよ。
Nah, it's a mage's job to play little tricks. We just fight whomever we're ordered to. Isn't that right, mate? His tone is lethal yet carefree. This man can see Archer.
やっぱりサーバント。
You're a servant.
そうとも。で、それがわかるお嬢ちゃんは俺の敵ってことでいいのかな？
That I am. If you know that, lass, you must be my enemy. My spine tenses. The man's voice is detached and nonchalant. But it's colder than anyone I've ever heard. It's so scary, it's nauseating. What's the best move here? I don't know. But my brain is still working enough to tell me that I absolutely must not fight him.
ほう、大 大したもんだ。何もわからねえようで要点は抑えてやがる。
Oh? I'm impressed. Here I was thinking you don't know heads from tails, but you figured out what really counts.
ああ、失敗したなこりゃ。面白がって声をかけるんじゃなかったぜ。
I blew that. I shouldn't have gone out of my way to taunt you. The man raises an arm. It appears in a flash. His once empty hand now holds a scarlet 2-meter long weapon. Huh. My legs throw me to the side before I can think. There isn't time to even hesitate about jumping off the roof. YouTube's being stinky again. Are we back? I think we're back. Also, hi, Feared. Let's see, what was the... There it is, yeah. With all my might, I make a mad dash for the fence, intending to barrel right through it. A cyclone lifts my hair into the air. It was by the skin of my teeth. In that instant, something slices through the space I was just in, tearing the fence apart with it. Heh, you've got a nice pair of legs on you. A blue whirlwind pursues me. There's no way out. The fence is behind me, my flanks are cut off. I won't make it. Es ist groß, es ist klein. I think that's actually clean, but whatever. I react swiftly. My magic crest surges to life so I can weave a single count magecraft. The spell lightens mass and manipulates gravity. Light as a feather, my body bounds into the air. Rin. I know. I got this. And I jump over the fence to plummet off the roof. Air resistance and gravity push and pull along my body. It's about 15 meters to the ground, 1.7 seconds away. Too slow, he's going to catch up to me. Vox got its Atlas.